Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A composition written in metrical feet forming rhythmical lines. A composition written in metrical feet forming rhythmical lines. Imaginative or creative writing. Imaginative or creative writing. Verse in the meter used in Greek and Latin poetry consisting of strophes of 4 tetrametric lines, reputedly invented by Alcaeus. A narrative poem of popular origin. A narrative song with a recurrent refrain. A poem consisting of 3 stanzas and an envoy. Unrhymed verse, usually in iambic pentameter. A mournful poem, a lament for the dead. Constituting or having to do with or suggestive of a literary epic. Epic tradition. A long narrative poem telling of a hero's deeds. Very imposing or impressive, surpassing the ordinary, especially in size or scale. An epic voyage. A long narrative poem telling of a hero's deeds. A long narrative poem telling of a hero's deeds. A body of poetry that conveys the traditions of a society by treating some epic theme. Unrhymed verse without a consistent metrical pattern. An epigrammatic Japanese verse form of 3 short lines. A long narrative poem telling of a hero's deeds. Express grief verbally. We lamented the death of the child. Regret strongly. We lamented the loss of benefits. A mournful poem, a lament for the dead. A cry of sorrow and grief. Their pitiful laments could be heard throughout the ward. A song or hymn of mourning composed or performed as a memorial to a dead person. A narrative poem of popular origin. Characteristic of those who are not members of the clergy. The lay ministry. Put in a horizontal position. Lay the books on the table. A narrative song with a recurrent refrain. Put into a certain place or abstract location. Impose as a duty, burden, or punishment. Lay a responsibility on someone. Lay eggs. This hen doesn't lay. Not of or from a profession. A lay opinion as to the cause of the disease. Prepare or position for action or operation. Lay a fire. A short verse said or sung by a priest or minister in public worship and followed by a response from the congregation. Verse in the meter used in Greek and Latin poetry consisting of strophes of 4 tetrametric lines, reputedly invented by Alcaeus. Expressing deep emotion. The dancer's lyrical performance. A short poem of song-like quality. The text of a popular song or musical comedy number. His compositions always started with the lyrics. Of or relating to a category of poetry that expresses emotion, often in a song-like way. Lyric poetry. Relating to or being musical drama. The lyric stage. Used of a singer or singing voice that is light in volume and modest in range. A lyric soprano. Write lyrics for a song. A short poem of song-like quality. A piece of poetry. Compose rhymes. correspondence in the sounds of two or more lines, especially final sounds. Be similar in sound, especially with respect to the last syllable. Hat and cat rhyme. A musical form that is often the last movement of a sonata. A French verse form of 10 or 13 lines running on two rhymes. The opening phrase is repeated as the refrain of the second and third stanzas. A French verse form of 10 or 13 lines running on two rhymes. The opening phrase is repeated as the refrain of the second and third stanzas. A verse form consisting of 14 lines with a fixed rhyme scheme. Compose a sonnet. Praise in a sonnet. A form of Japanese poetry. The first and third lines have 5 syllables and the second, fourth, and fifth have 7 syllables. A Tibetan religious painting on fabric. A verse form with a rhyme scheme. Abba BC BCDC, etc. Unrhymed verse without a consistent metrical pattern. A piece of poetry. A line of metrical text. Literature in metrical form. Compose verses or put into verse. Familiarize through thorough study or experience. She versed herself in Roman archaeology. A poem having lines beginning with letters of the alphabet in regular order. A single line of words in a poem.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.